Hello, everybody. This is Anthony for Investors Undergrounds. Today, I have the opportunity to speak with an extraordinary trader in Mr. Stan Gluzman. Stan began trading during college in 2013. After graduation, he joined the proprietary trading firm 7 Points Capital. He's now been trading for over a decade, managing to adapt his style to changing markets in order to maintain success. Today, we'll get a chance to discuss his trading journey, style, what it's like to trade at a prop firm, and more. Hello, Stan. Thank you for being here and taking the time to speak with me today.
Thanks, Anthony. It's good to be here. That was a quite generous intro there. Extraordinary trader. Thanks. Yeah, I've been watching pretty much every episode of your show, so I'm a fan, and I'm glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Stan. If it's okay with you, I'd love to start closer to the beginning. Can you just tell me how you first got interested in the stock market and trading?
Yeah, I mean, I went to school for finance, and it was kind of a no-brainer to kind of start dabbling into the stock market. Especially, I went to school that's called Baruch College, Bernard Baruch, as in one of the greatest traders of all time. We had a trading floor in school, and it was pretty cool. And I've taken a class that was on technical analysis, so it was a no-brainer for me to kind of start dabbling in. And I placed my first trade in 2013, and I started taking it seriously in 2014, and I went full-time in 2015. So 2015 was when I graduated school, and I went straight to a prop firm from there.
Yeah, so you've known that you wanted to trade and be in this type of career for a while.
I mean, yeah, ever since I was probably a junior, maybe in college, sophomore or junior in college, that's when I kind of started in, and then I realized this is what I want to do. But I mean, some people drop out of college and they just jump, head first. I wanted to finish school first. But yeah, I found trading. I fell in love with it, got bit by the bug, and I was completely obsessed with it for years and years. My obsession probably slowed down quite a bit. Like you said, it's been many years of trading full time, and yeah, I there's nothing else that I wanted to do ever than trade, because there's just so many benefits. There's so much upside to trading. There's no pretty much limits to how much you can make. You can take off any day that you want, and everything else that comes with it.
Were you trading during college as well?
Yeah. I was even trading in class. And like I remember the professor was telling us about the SSR being in effect on all stocks, and I'm thinking they canceled that rule years ago. It's not like that anymore. Like, I'm short an SSR stock right now, shorting the bid. I'm referring to the rule, the uptick rule. Yeah, I was in. Funny thing is, I have a photo. I was in trade in school, and I took a photo of the chart, and I got the background of some of the kids in class. And then when I joined the prop firm, I was trading with one of the guys from the background of my photo from class. And I only realized it later in life, and I showed it to him. Dude, this is you. So yeah, I was
Wow.
trading in class a little bit back then.
Yeah. And a sort of small world to capture something like
Small
that.
world, yeah. But
Yeah.
they were also hiring from my school quite a bit. So a big percentage of people, including my risk manager, Mike Katz, he graduated from there. So that's why they like to hire from that school quite a bit.
How did you decide to join a proprietary trading firm, and what was that entire process like for you?
So I joined because I thought this is going to give me the biggest chances of thriving, because I don't want to just survive. I want to make it in the industry. I want to stay for a long time. I want to take it as, seriously as I possibly can. And like, I just want to join professionals. And because I traded for, like I said, I started in 2013, started taking it really seriously. So I've been trading for about a year up to the point of getting hired. And I was like sort of a break-even trader at the time. So I was my commissions would just eat my profits. And I thought, I mean, I was undercapitalized. I had $5,000 to my name. I loaded it to my account twice. and I took it to zero both times. I expected to do so, thinking, this is going to be like market tuition. I've read the books, I've taken courses, I've joined chat rooms. I was in IU in 2014. And so I took my account to zero twice, and that's when I knew I have to join a firm. And I applied. I got the interview. I came to the office with a tablet, showed my trades, explained to them, I'm not here to mess around. I'm here, I'm here to trade. I'm taking this seriously. Um, and um, and here we are.
On behalf of the people listening, some people might not be too familiar with a proprietary trading firm. So I wanted to ask you if you could maybe give us some insight into what maybe the basic structure is. I know you'd mentioned a risk manager. Some people might not even know what a risk manager is. So can you maybe let us know how prop trading is a little bit different from maybe someone who's a retail trader uh, at home trading alone in their home office?
Right. So prop firm basically, I mean, it's not that much different from trading from home. You're just trading from an office in a more professional setting, and you're trading somebody else's capital. So in a retail account, you're getting, I think, 4-to-1 leverage on your day trades. In prop world, you can get, I'm not sure what the numbers are, but you could probably get like 20-to-1 or higher, depending on what the deal is at the prop firm. Some firms don't even accept any money from you, so you're just strictly trading somebody else's money, like 7 Points. When I was hired, there was no money that I put up, so it was like strictly company's capital. And so that's why you have a risk manager who is basically responsible for making sure that you're not doing anything silly, you're not kind of breaching the company risk. And also just to kind of look over your shoulder. It's, risk manager is usually one of the more experienced people on the floor, and they can tell if you are trading well, if you're making mistakes, and that sort of thing. So he's also kind of your coach, your mentor, and your risk manager.
Is there any extra pressure or maybe less pressure trading the firm's capital compared to one's own?
That's a good question, because everybody seems to have a different experience with that. Some people, I think people that have been trading for a while at home, they have a bit of a learning curve to just kind of adjust, not a learning curve, but like an adjustment to make, because they feel a little bit nervous. What are the expectations? Like, am I not supposed to lose a single dollar? That sort of thing. So like we try to set the right expectation. The firm tries to set the right expectations to take it easy. Don't worry, like it's fine. Don't do anything differently. And it takes a couple of weeks for people to adjust. Like for me personally, I think that plays a big role in like, I don't think that I would be able to risk sometimes the amounts that I do. And not to say that I risk anything like super crazy, but it's like sometimes it can be scary, but like thinking it's not even my money, and it works out kind of in my favor at the end, because I tend to stay calm, knowing that even if I take this loss, my bank account is still, 100% there. So that I think is pretty comforting for me.
Do you find that having other traders around, especially for the beginning traders who have more experience, like mentors around, that the prop sort of environment can be beneficial to sort of have this built-in support network?
Yeah, I think it could be very, very beneficial, especially for someone who's kind of in the beginning of their journey, because you just don't know what you don't know. And then you show up to the trading floor with some basic knowledge, and you kind of know how to trade, but you're not really profitable there. You're not all profitable yet. And then you see how some of the bigger guys are doing their preparation, how they execute, how they scale in, how they cut their loss, how they deal with the drawdown, and all the mental aspects of it. I think it definitely shortens the learning curve, and also it's always good to have someone in the office who trades bigger than you, because if that guy can do it doing A, B, and C, all I got to do is A, B, C, and maybe D and E, and I'll be even bigger than that guy, you know? So it's always good. But once you're the biggest in the room, it's like, okay, maybe I need to go home and you know, maybe I need to like isolate myself a little bit and like just be, you know, in a quiet room. But overall, also, there are like setups that you might miss if you're trading at home. You know, like for example, even if you're in a chat room with someone, you have to read the chat room, and that's kind of my problem with being in a chat room. Like I don't have the kind of mental capacity to like sift through all the words and all the people writing stuff. So, but sitting in a room with people, you know, someone goes, "Hey, this stock just came out with this PR. It's not on the news yet. You know, somehow the platform missed it or whatever. This guy is saying this stock is setting up. You know, so you know, you tend to take some setups that otherwise you wouldn't have if you were trading from home, because you just don't see everything. But when you have, you know, 8 pairs of eyes, you know, you tend to see a lot more of what's going on, and you could be dialed in a lot more. Or for some people, of course, it could be like you said, like it could be a double-edged sword here. And someone who has a trigger finger can struggle with that. He could be in 9 different trades and he doesn't even know what he's doing there, you know. So I would say, like, for the most part, it's probably pretty good. But you also make lifelong friends. You know, you make friends in the trading floor, and you have great stories from the trading floor, good memories, and you go way back with people. And if you're sitting at home and you're not sharing any of these experiences, you know, on the trading floor, you see some really crazy trades from people, and you just like, wow, that guy is sicko. You know, I wish I could do what he did. You know, and things like that. So it can be a lot of fun, and it could be very beneficial as a, you know, for a career to be on the trading floor.
Yeah, absolutely. Trading is one of those professions that can be quite lonely if you let it. And for those who are willing to branch out or talk to others, it can be pretty social and very cool to meet
Yeah.
other traders. Is one of the things that you tend to find is that you'd have like in-person meetings? Is that something that you also partake in?
Yeah, I mean, we do have like a company-wide meeting once a week. I don't always participate in it. But I mean, we have an office here in Fort Lauderdale, and there's only 4 of us here right now. Some people are remote. And then we only have 4 people right now. So, you know, pretty much the entire day is the meeting. We're just talking the entire day about, you know, unless it's busy, you know, the opening print, the bell is like super busy. So everybody's quiet and focused. But for the most part, we're chatting in the morning about, you know, what's moving, what's um, in the news. Midday, you know, we're going through some trades and kind of chatting pretty much the entire day about, you know, how, you know, people's performance has been, you know, what people are struggling with. And we're everybody's pretty open in my office in particular. So it's a pretty good environment. And so yeah, it's kind of like a one big meeting the entire day pretty much. But it's not dreadful, I don't think, as like in a typical meeting where you want to get out of it as soon as possible.
If I understand correctly, you're now overseeing and mentoring some of the traders. Is that accurate?
Yeah, ever since I moved to Florida, I started in New York office, and then I moved to Florida and started an office here. And so it's been, I think, about 5 years, and we've had some traders come and go. So it's been a journey. It's been fun. It's been a long ride, and we have some decent traders at the trading floor right now.
Are there any particular challenges that you see some of the newer traders constantly fall into? Or is it sort of just trader by trader? Everyone is so different.
I mean, some of the common ones, definitely, there's definitely some overlap. Like a lot of people struggle with just the mental aspect where they'll have some FOMO, they'll just have no confidence, for example, you know, it just misses the setup. He sees the setup. And I always talk about this type of trader. Don't be that type of trader where you see the setup, you call it out, everybody takes the trade, everybody kills it, and you don't even take the trade. So things like that, you know, scared to lose, because when you're new, you don't really have the confidence yet. or even if you're in a slump, like, and that happens to everyone, you're just going through a rough patch and you don't really have you lost your confidence. And so you don't really trade well. You don't trade your A game. You chase, right? You're like trying to get that green trade and you're getting in on like the third confirmation. And that's like the ultimate chase where the risk reward is just the other way. I would say like psychological stuff is probably the main mistake that people make.
For anybody who's considering joining a prop firm, would you have any advice for them?
I mean, if you want to get into a firm, you want to have some trades under your belt. Like I can give an example. You know, the how I got in. You know, where I had some trades. I read some books. I read the Wizards and all the classics. And I've traded for about a year and a half, and I've taken the screenshots. I've journaled. I've watched Tim Grittani's DVD and Nate's DVD, and then Sykes's DVD, and I've been into all these chat rooms, and I know all the biggest traders. And I come to the trading floor excited, and I'm talking to my cats and the hiring managers, and I'm like telling them this and that, and I know how to how I would take this trade, and like super excited and enthusiastic. So I think like when I see, I hire guys for my office. And so when I see someone like that, I'm like, I don't care what school you went to. I don't care what grades you got. I don't care what languages you speak. I don't care if you don't even speak English. I don't care. Just come trade with us. We'll help you out and we'll make money together, So yeah, just like enthusiastic work ethic, and just ready to go. I love that energy.
Stan, I'd love to learn a little bit more about your trading style. So, how would you describe how you trade and where do you find edge in the market?
So I like to trade pretty much two types of setups. I like the longs and the shorts. I like the small cap shorts because they are usually pretty dilutive in their nature. They like to fade on their second or third day of running. As we just saw, AI, one of the biggest fades today is April 5th. So you could go back and look at AI. That was one of the biggest fades. I completely missed it. I did not expect that. But I like the breakout long, and I like the multi-day short. These are the A-plus setups that I think if you can master them, you will never really master them. But if you can get profitable in those two, they can be very scalable and they can be very profitable. So, and I focus on risk reward versus win rate. So my win rate isn't really all that high. It's probably around 40% on a decent month, and maybe 50% on a really, really good month. And my risk rewards tends to be anywhere from 2 to like 4 to 1. So on a really good month, when you have a 50% win rate with a 4 to 1 risk reward, with tons of opportunities, like that's like a really, really, really profitable month. So I tend to focus on risk reward because even on a slow month, with like a 30 on like a really, really bad month with like a 35% win rate, I can still come out sort of flat-ish, and that to me is a really good style to have.
And do you trade stocks exclusively or do you trade any options as well?
I used to trade options. I used to do a wheel strategy where you basically sell out of money puts to get long, and then you sell covered calls to sell the position. But it has some tail risk also, and I feel like it's very high maintenance strategy. So I basically don't do it anymore. I'm just long, basically value long stocks in my portfolio. No more options. And as far as options goes, like in my day trading account, I would short calls if I can't get a locate for a stock. Also, sometimes if I'm trying to hit the stock, and this is like a rare occurrence, if say a stock is collapsing and it halts down on like a volatility halt down, the options don't halt down. Like you can still short calls as the stock is halted down. So that would be like you know, one area of like where I would hit the options.
Okay. And how long did it take for you to really hone your strategy and find out what works for you?
Years of trial and error, really. And also like, just talking to some like good traders and figuring things out together. Running statistical analysis. In the office we had, now we have services for that like Spikey, but back then, like 5 6 years ago, we would have to collect all the information like by hand. So there would be like 4 or 5 of us in the office, just copy paste numbers and then just trying to figure out if there's an edge here or not. And now with Spikey, you could do it in like 5 minutes. Um, and Yeah, like just trial and error, and then really just looking at different like courses. A lot of people kind of talk badly about like courses and DVDs. Like there's a lot of crap out there, but I like to buy them and watch them and see if I can learn one thing about it. And maybe I'll learn a long strategy that I didn't know before. um, so yeah, I like to study like other people's styles and seeing if I can incorporate like one thing into mine. And so over the years, you tend to like add some things, take some things out, and your own style kind of forms over the years. So
Would you say that keeping that open mind and constantly learning new things is a very important part of being a trader? And is it at least important for you?
yeah, I mean, there's like probably few schools of thought about that. Like some people have like one setup, one strategy, and they'll say, if it's not working, setups are cyclical, so if it doesn't work right now, we're in a bear market, I'm not going to trade, whatever, I'm going to go on vacation for 3 months. Once I start seeing it work again, I'll come back. I like to trade, so I like to be involved and have my finger on the pulse. But I can't be trading the same setup every single day, every single month. So you kind of have to have different variations of the same setup, or have multiple setups and have multiple variations of that same setup. And you learn that from I mean, either the hard way, which is just taking losses, or a slightly easier way where you study how other people trade and seeing, is this better right now or is this better right now, and you incorporate it that way. So yeah, I think it's definitely helpful for sure.
When you start to incorporate a new strategy, do you have any particular rules so that you don't go size in too much with that new type that you're trying out?
Yeah, I mean, I trade based on a set R, risk per trade. And so if it's like a brand new strategy or something that I'm not familiar with or not comfortable with, I will put it on like with smaller size, something that I'll still feel a little bit, but maybe like 1/10 of like my regular size position, dollar risk amount. So yeah, I would just trade way smaller, and if I see that it's working and I enjoy, that sort of style, I will ramp up the risk depending on how profitable the strategy is. If it's like super, the profit factor is like way up there, I will probably trade it way bigger than my other strategies.
As you've found more and more success in trading, how did you approach sizing up and scaling your trades in a way that didn't allow your losing trades to impact your winners?
Yeah, so that's a big question, for trading. Um, you have to, for me, I used to just pile in whatever the stock can take, basically, and just slam it. But it could be really good or it could be really really bad, right? Depending on if it worked out or not. But like, I don't think that's like the optimal way to trade. I think it has to be a lot more systemized, because if it's random, you can't make adjustments, you can't improve. But if you have it systematized, then you can kind of at the end of the day, see what exactly did I do, how many units of R did I risk on this, and how can I make adjustment, maybe down or up. And so as far as sizing up, risk wise, like for example, max loss for the day, I usually use like a tool. I take my average green day and I multiply by about 1.5 or 2, and that's about what I just round it up, and that's kind of where my max loss for the day is. So if I'm doing really well, my max loss for the day goes up. If I'm not doing well, I'm gonna tone it down. But as far as like per trade, I try to risk anywhere from about a 1/6 to about a half of my entire max loss for the day on any particular setup, depending on what setup it is. And it's usually very systematized.
Is part of the reason that you do that because you feel really strongly about your ability to be consistent day in and day out, knowing that maybe you can make back a loss in 2 days or 3 days max?
Well, yeah, the max loss for the day is definitely, it's a number where I'm comfortable making back the loss in a few sessions, or maybe in one session that's, bigger than average, which, some of them are, hopefully. And then as far as like position goes, it depends on how big the chart is. If it's like a multi-day breakout, if it's been consolidating for a long time and like everything lines up, there's like huge short interest in it, and there's a headline, and they've been growing past couple of quarters, and it like breaks out super clean, I might risk a lot more than on something that's been consolidating for 4 days. And so, yeah, like I kind of gauge it like setup by setup. But I don't go and risk in 20 times in the first one more than in the second one. I'll probably risk like maybe 2 times more, uh, something that makes sense.
What types of setups are you having the most success with in 2023?
2023, well, I'm probably shorting multi-day runners. And I used to scalp day ones quite a bit, especially 2021. I think that was a pretty good year for scalping day ones, but I don't really like them anymore. I like to trade multi-day runners, so like day twos, day threes, day fours, and so on, with that have some range and they have a lot of downside, or upside. Sometimes it's uptrending, so you kind of buying dips in the uptrend, that sort of thing. But yeah, I like to trade multi days with big volume and big range, and mostly on the short side.
And have you found that your trading style has evolved and changed from when you first joined the prop firm to now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, back then we weren't as focused on momentum. We had a few people that traded momentum back then, and we did a lot of, you can even call it market making. We would basically find um, stocks that are kind of going sideways a little bit with a very thick book, thick level two, that had algos buying the offer or selling the bid, or both. So we would basically like sell on the offer, buy on the bid all day in like 5 different stocks every single day. There would be something, some hedge fund, some bank in a dark pool buying something in a very inefficient manner, and we would take advantage of that. And then that strategy wasn't very scalable, so and it started to slowly fade away with time, because those algos, obviously they got a lot smarter with time, as they do. And we naturally kind of gravitated towards momentum trading, where it's even better, it's a lot more scalable, it's not as consistent, because with market making you can be green every single day of the year, like it's not that hard, but you're not going to have $1 million day. But with momentum trading, you absolutely can do that.
So, can you talk a little bit about how important it is to constantly be pushing the limits as a trader to maximize your potential?
Yeah, well, pushing the limits, like if we're talking about like improvements, you can journal every day and you will find mistakes in your trades every single day. Somehow like I've been profitable making all these crazy mistakes every day. I feel like an idiot every day, I'm telling you. And it's like, how did I even make money this week or this month? So yeah, like marginal improvements every day, like 1% a day, 2% a day improvement, a little bit better entry, slightly better entry, slightly better exit, slightly more sharp with timing, slightly better, like more accurate sizing, that sort of thing. Um, and then as far as pushing limits, we could talk about like sizing, right? Sizing up, where it's a lot of it is mental. Some people just are not comfortable with risk at all, and it's probably not the right career for them. Like we had traders that are consistently profitable traders, really good profit factor, cannot risk money, cannot risk any real money. And you would have two guys sitting next to each other in the same setup, in the same trade at the same time, with the same entry, with the same amount of experience. One guy has 5,000 shares, another guy has 50,000 shares, and they're doing the same exact thing. So it's just a mindset at that point. It's like, please size up, dude. Like, don't you want to make some real money? So you absolutely want to be in a mindset of, I need to get uncomfortable sometimes. The second guy, he's sitting there, he's sweating, he's so uncomfortable. The first guy is a little nice and comfy. He can walk around, grab a sip of water. The second guy cannot get up and grab a sip of water because he's sweating. But he is pushing the limits, and it pays off, because at the end of the day, we're here to make money, right? And when he goes home and he buys his wife a Mercedes, makes a big difference, and the first guy can't even pay his own rent. So that's why you want to size up, because we're otherwise you're wasting your time.
Is that a skill that can be learned to a certain extent? Do you think that we're sort of just capped? Some people just can't do it.
Yeah, I think it's like you either have it or you don't. Some people just want it, some people don't. Some people like to trade and like the whole process, but they don't really want to push the risk limits. They just don't want to be in that uncomfortable position. And I've seen a few people like that, not one person. I'm not going to call out any names, obviously, but I've seen a few people like that, and like it's been pretty hard to break through that wall, like extremely difficult to break through that wall. So like with time, like risk tolerance goes up, but it's like really, really, really slowly. But some people from day one, they're ready to trade and risk six figures in a trade. They're just ready to do it. You just got to give them a good to go, and they're ready to do it. And it's like, this guy has it. He's not ready for it. Obviously he'll get there, hopefully, but yeah, some people just have it and some people don't.
That's interesting, and definitely something that I wanted to talk about with you is the idea of mindset and the role that like psychology can have for a trader. With this example, sort of being one of them. So, you know, how important is trading psychology for you?
It's just the confidence, I think. And you just have to come into the market with confidence. If you're trading with confidence, you're trading like you mean it. You have to get there, right? You have to have a good setup, and you kind of like, you're like as good as your last trade, pretty much, or like your last trading day. Like, because if you take a big loss the day before, you kind of feel like crap. So but you have to push through that. So you kind of have to be relentless in your mindset, championship mindset. Some of the best traders that I know, they'll have 4 losing days back to back, and they'll be like, I cannot wait to slam this setup tomorrow because it looks so good. It's just that mindset of, nothing will take me down, nothing will bring me down. So that's kind of as far as my like psychology goes, like in relation to trading. So yeah, I mean there are books about it. Some people enjoy like meditating, like they have some apps they listen to in the morning. Some people read the Daily Trading Coach. I tried all of that. I don't for me, I don't find it useful at all. It's just I'm either ready to trade or I'm pretty much always ready to trade. So I don't know. I just have to get my routine in the morning and I'm ready to trade. But if I didn't get my routine in, I probably shouldn't trade, but I still do on most days.
And speaking of which, what does your routine look like? Are you waking up early, hitting the gym, and then getting into the office? What does that all look like for you?
Yeah, I like to hit the gym in the morning. I do CrossFit in the morning. I wake up at 5 and I have a class at 5:45. So I'm done by about 7 o'clock. I'm home and ready to go at 7:30. So I'm usually, if I'm trading from home, I'm at the desk at around like 7:45, 8. If I'm trading from the office, like maybe 15 minutes later. But I like to get to the desk no later than like 8:15. And I don't trade pre-market. I just kind of scan unless something really wild is going on and like I just cannot miss the setup. But most of the time I skip the pre-market. I prepare. I go through yesterday's the day before's trades charts and kind of go through the notes of what happened yesterday and the levels that I need to watch and what happened this morning, and I kind of journal the trades that I'm going to take, I'm planning on taking, how I'm going to go about it. So a lot of preparation. But I think like waking up early in the morning and hitting the gym in the morning, it really puts me in that killer mindset where it's like I am ready to go. But if I don't do that, if I wake up at 7:30 and I roll out of bed, I feel lazy and I feel like I don't want to prepare for the day. I don't care about the news. I don't care. Don't tell me about it. You know, so like lazy trading, and it's like lazy trading, not sharp. Now your entries are off a little bit, and you want to go for another coffee, and it's like 9:45. It's just not the same. So yeah, I like to get my routine in. I like to be in that mindset of I'm ready to go.
Mhm. And when the market closes, is there anything that you do to review your trades?
Yeah, I mean, I after the close, I usually don't do anything until the evening. And then in the evening, I'll just kind of go through the charts and take a peek at like what exactly did I do and like did I miss anything? And I usually journal in the morning more extensively. Like I'll spend maybe like 30 minutes going through every single trade. And did I miss something? Was the entry good? And like tagging everything. So I like tagging every trade based on like what the daily setup looks like and what the intraday setup looks like. So then I basically look through the way that I go through my trades, like at the end of the week or the month, is I go through the tags, which tags worked, which tags didn't work. And if a tag didn't work, I'll click on the tag, and I do it in TradingView. I'll click on the tag and I'll go through all the trades, and is there any particular reason, or is that just like a market cycle, and like should I just not take this trade anymore, going forward, that sort of thing, or like what worked, like what's my best tag, and can I scale up, can I go like increase my R instead of risking 1.5 Rs on this one this week, maybe I could bump it up to 2 Rs on this setup. So that's kind of another thing that I think really is very helpful.
Is there anything that traders can do you think, to really build their confidence while preventing the type of overconfidence that could lead them into long-term trouble?
Yeah, I mean, well, confidence comes from preparation. So if you're very, very well prepared, you're confident, you're ready to go. But like, yeah, like you said, like you can get overly confident. I think for me personally, and from what I've seen on a trading floor, that comes from like really good trading, really good markets, and like good P&Ls, and you feel like you're invincible. You feel like you're the greatest trader of all time. Like you can't touch me, right? Like you can't lose. And that's when you get overconfident, and that's not a good thing when you start canceling stops. and you start canceling targets, and you start kind of thinking, I'm too smart for this silly strategy that I created when I used to suck back then, So so that's overconfidence, and that's where you are at your weakest, I think, because you are prone to make the biggest mistakes, and the biggest mistakes are made right after some of the best times. So every day, every really good day or really bad day, you like, I have to reset my mind and come in next day, make sure I come in next day with just the regular mindset where I'm gonna kill it. I still suck, but I'm still gonna kill it. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna stick to my strategy. Like, because the highs are high, the lows are low in your mindset. The big P&Ls, you think you're the best in the world, and when you take multiple losses back to back, you think you suck, but you have to stay somewhere in the middle. You don't suck, even if you do. You're not the greatest in the world. You're not that good, even if you are really good. So like, just staying right in the middle, as neutral as possible. I think that's kind of the key to not get like overly confident or trading like you don't have confidence.
Hmm. That's interesting because it definitely sounds like you're looking to maintain this balance and staying humble and modest, even when you're doing well in trading.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. You have to, because like, I'll so many times I'll have like biggest day ever, the biggest day ever, and I am so happy, and I come to the next day to the market and I lose it all, and it's like I breached all the risk parameters. I went over my max loss for the day. I don't know how that even happened. I got slipped so much. My risk manager calls me, is like, what happened? you know so yeah, like, you can get yourself in trouble right after the best day. So the best traders, and that takes some experience. The best traders, they know how to calm down. Don't go crazy. You had your great day yesterday, calm down, you're fine. Tomorrow's another day, you can lose it all.
I wanted to ask about intuition, this idea of maybe being able to sense what the market or particular ticker is going to do. Do you believe this idea of intuition?
I believe it exists, but intuition is basically your memories. Like, you might not remember, a pattern like clearly in your mind, but you've seen it maybe 10 times in the last 5 years. You don't remember it, but your brain is like, it has it somewhere in the back of its mind. And it's kind of telling you, hey, maybe you should get out of this one, because what happened last time. So yeah, I think like it just comes with experience. I don't think you can come to the market with a blank, fresh mind, never seen a chart in your life, and have like intuition that's like working in your favor. You might get lucky, get a lucky call here and there, but intuition, I think, is just your experience. And like, there are some traders that I trade with. There's one guy, he has like incredible memory, incredible. Like, I think I'm thinking maybe this is not a good, or this is a really good one. He remembers this is a good one because this ticker, 2018 April 25th, and I'm like, oh my god, like, did you remember? Yeah, he remembers it all. So some people just have like really good memory, and some people have intuition.
If it's okay with you, Stan, I wanted to sort of go through a lightning round set of questions, kind of short questions, kind of short answers. Does that work?
Sure.
Great. The first question I had is, are there any particular technical indicators that you favor on your charts?
Yeah, I like to look at VWAP. I do like to look at moving averages. Like certain setups, like I'll put a like kind of a layout of moving averages on the chart. So just to see what the trend looks like, or sometimes I'll see a trend and I'll find a moving average that it follows, because a lot of moving averages are used by the big hedge funds that are accumulating shares, right? They're not like that much more sophisticated than us when it comes to execution. They also use VWAP and TWAP and moving averages. So you can find like a moving average that they use and kind of just buy dips into it, that sort of thing. So I do mess around with that and VWAP.
What do you consider to be maybe your greatest strength or strengths as a trader?
I think my greatest strength is there's nothing else that I'd rather be doing. Just I'm resilient when it comes to I guess going through a slump. Like you can't break me. I think, even though sometimes I feel like this probably isn't for me. It even happens even now, but I will come back tomorrow and I'll be fresh tomorrow.
And are there any areas of your trading that you would love to still develop and improve on?
Yeah, definitely. I tend to have a trigger finger, and I tend to like to be in a trade, maybe a little too much. And so I take setups sometimes when I know I shouldn't be taking them, just because I'm here, I'm ready to go, and I'm usually trading on those days a lot smaller, but it's like those like little annoying losses. It's like I knew I shouldn't be trading, but I'm already here. Whatever. Let me put on a few shares here, a few shares there. It's like I'm trying to learn to just walk away. When it's like really dead, I walk away for a few days, but when it's like kind of mixed action, I still show up and I tend to put on trades that just because I'm bored. So yeah, skipping trades is what we're working on.
Are there any ways that you think traders can help themselves adapt when the market changes, or anything that you do to improve your strategy if you start to see the edge go away from that strategy?
First of all, you can size down. If it's just like one day you took a loss, it doesn't really matter all that much, or even 2 days. But if it's like you've been taking losses back to back, it's like you probably need to size down. That's the first thing. That's the first thing that I do usually. Um, and yeah, I mean, like sizing down and just looking at what other people are doing. In the prop world, I can ask some of the guys like, "Hey, how's your month been, or how's your week been?" and see like if they're in the same boat as me. It's probably like the cycle is not there, so maybe I should just stop trading and look for some other setups, new strategies, or even just walk away for a couple of days. Um, but or sometimes the guy's like, yeah, I've been really killing it, and it's like, okay, what have you been doing? And that's really easy. Like, can you maybe help me out? Like, maybe can we jump on Zoom? Like, just show me a few charts. And usually, if you see a chart, you can reverse engineer like what the setup is. You could see like what was the gap on the day, what was the news, what was the entry, what was the exit. You kind of reverse engineer why. You don't even need much like information about it. Just need a few charts.
Is there anything that you do away from your trading desk that you find is helpful for you when you get back to trading?
Well, I think when you're away from the desk, like especially if you're not a new trader, you have to kind of try your best to not get burnt out. Because if you're sitting at your desk, say like 8:30 market time until like 5 p.m., in the beginning you should do that, because you get as much screen time as possible. But later in the career, you got to make sure you don't get burnt out, because we do this for a reason, and we do this because we want to have some freedom, right? That's mostly why traders trade. So we want to have some freedom, and like you shouldn't be a slave to the markets, and kind of just being there 24/7 and thinking about it 24/7. So yeah, I like to if I had a really good morning and I don't see any more setups during the day, I'll walk away for the rest of the day. I enjoy trading in the morning and walking away. um, and yeah, and then just after the bell, before going through charts at night, just doing something completely unrelated to trading, spending time with a friend, a family member, wife, husband, whatever, pet, having some fun, doing, going to a nice restaurant, just getting away from trading.
Last question. For those who are listening who want to learn more about you and your trading style, how can they do so?
Well, I don't really share all that much. Sometimes I'll throw charts on my Twitter, but you can apply to trade with us, for example, 7 Points Capital. at 7 Points CAP, I think, on Twitter. I am on Twitter at Chocana Trader. It's CIOCANA Trader. So you can follow me there, and you can reach out to me there if you have any questions.
Awesome. Well, Stan, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, it's been fun.
If you liked this video, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell. Thanks for watching.